As promised in my Avatar review, I am finally gonna talk on this channel about a non-Disney movie. There are quite a few interesting ones coming out this year that I just really want to bring attention to, one of them being the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which was released last week. I don't think I've mentioned it on here, but I'm a pretty big Mario fan. I haven't played all of the games, but the ones I have played I really enjoyed. Except for Super Mario Sunshine, that game can burn in hell! There was an attempt at making a Mario movie in the early 90s, but that did not go well. I haven't seen it myself, but I haven't heard anything good about it. But because of its failure, Nintendo hasn't allowed another film adaptation of this popular game franchise to be made, until they decided to entrust Universal and Illumination with giving it an animated film. There are many ways this movie could have gone wrong, and there definitely were some red flags, such as its reliance on the celebrity voice cast, the fact that it was made by Illumination, the studio that doesn't have the best track record, the fact that it was written by a Minions 2 writer, the fact that it was directed by the creators of Teen Titans Go, and also film adaptations of video games don't usually go well. Sonic the Hedgehog got 2 movies in the past 3 years, and while they're not great, they do get what makes the video games enjoyable, which is most noticeable in the sequel. Sonic Movie 2, in my opinion, is probably the best movie to be based on a video game, but now that I've seen the Mario movie, I still stand by what I just said about Sonic 2 being the best, but Mario is okay. Brothers Mario and Luigi are plumbers in Brooklyn, but they get sucked into another world. Mario, who is now in the Mushroom Kingdom, needs the help of Princess Peach to save Luigi, who is now Bowser's prisoner. The plot is pretty simple, but Mario isn't known for having complicated plots. It's pretty much just what you'd expect going into a Mario film. Just nice, simple, entertaining fun, which is what this franchise is built around. Anyone going into it expecting anything more will be disappointed. There's a lot of entertainment value. In terms of animation, it's the best looking Illumination film. It's a very fast-paced film, sometimes to its detriment. The movie can often move too fast that it doesn't allow much to breathe. It feels like it's focused on getting to the next thing as quickly as it can. For example, when Mario meets Princess Peach for the first time, their interaction lasts for only about a minute before Peach decides to take Mario to the training course, and then they make their way to the Kong tribe. There's not much of an adventure aspect. It's mainly focused on the main goal, rather than the world building. The world building really sucks. Any location that looks interesting is mostly used as a backdrop. Even though there is talk about the different worlds, the environments do look beautiful though. And there is a lot of great use of animation, providing some exhilarating action. And it's easy to see everything that's going on. This is especially noticeable in the Rainbow Road scene and the climax, the 2 best scenes in the film. I also like the use of one-take shots in certain scenes, so while the fast pacing works in favor of the action, it doesn't work when moving the story along. I also must acknowledge the use of Easter eggs and references because, while some of it is cool to see, it gets quite excessive. Some of them aren't even subtle or clever, mostly there because they feel like they're obligated to include them, even if they don't work with the story they are trying to tell. It was at the point where one of the toads outside of Peach's castle jokingly said, "The princess is in another castle," where I thought to myself that this was gonna be one of those movies, and there were moments like that in the beginning as well. It's a movie that tries to appeal to Mario fans, and mainly them. A lot of the jokes and references can only be enjoyed if you have knowledge of the source material. There's nothing inherently wrong with that though, especially when the fan base they're trying to attract is a huge one. I still do think that people who have never played a Mario game might get entertainment from this. It's just, it won't blow your mind the same way it would for a video game fan. Mario and Luigi running in what looks like a level from a Super Mario game is very creative. I wish there were more moments like that, but a lot of the ways they incorporate elements from the games are still really cool, especially the use of power-ups. A lesser adaptation would probably omit something as significant as this in favor of a more realistic approach, but this is definitely one big video game on the big screen, and I'm sure that's what most of us wanted to see. And they still give the characters a purpose. Mario and Luigi are a great duo, even though they are separated for most of the movie. The scenes where they're together are some of the best. Luigi getting captured makes perfect sense though. It gives Mario a stronger motivation to risk his life to go up against Bowser. And despite Princess Peach not being the one to get captured, they still keep Bowser's motivation of wanting to marry her. It's not even for wanting power, he just straight up loves her, and you know what? It's hilarious. One thing I was really surprised about was the portrayal of Princess Peach. I know she's been seen as a badass before, but I like that she's given more of a personality here, rather than just a damsel in distress. She grew up in this kingdom, so of course she knows how to protect herself. Meanwhile, Mario was a newcomer and has much to learn, and yet there are some who take issue with this by calling it quote-unquote woke. and anyone who says that is more immature than the Disney cast members who celebrated Bob Chapek being fired, which is saying a lot because that was already pretty friggin' immature. As far as vocal performances go, they're better than I thought they would be. Just like with most animated movies these days, it mostly consists of a celebrity voice cast, and any professional voice actors in it are reduced to smaller roles, but at least Mario's usual voice actor Charles Martinet is still included. Just like everyone else, I too made fun of the voice cast and thought Mario being voiced by Chris Pratt was a really dumb idea, but surprisingly, he wasn't terrible, which by the rules of the internet means he was amazing. Now, let's not go that far. He was serviceable. At times it sounds like he's doing an accent, other times it's just his regular voice, and when he says one of Mario's famous catchphrases, it comes across as awkward. Still, I think a lot of that had to do with the voice direction, and he just kind of followed that.
He wasn't bad, but I thought he gave a better performance as an amateur hero who started out as an average worker in an animated movie that also happened to be made by a duo who created an animated series in the Lego Movie.
The other voices are pretty good though, like Charlie Day as Luigi and Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. Keegan-Michael Key was surprisingly tolerable as Toad, honestly less annoying than Toad's usual voice, but the best voice performance by far is Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek. I'm not kidding, he was very underrated. But yes, Jack Black as Bowser was amazing too. He was one I was able to tell was having fun with his role. Sometimes I even forgot it was Jack Black voicing him. That's a sign of a good performance. Bowser is seen as an intimidating threat, while also having a humorous side. It balances out pretty well. I even like that they took advantage of Jack Black's musical talent by giving him a song. I'm not lying when I say that song is a banger. Jack Black gives a fantastic performance, which is a stark contrast to the bad performance he gave in another piece of media that just so happened to be released on the same day.
Despicable.
I didn't hate Cranky Kong's voice as much as everyone else did. I actually got ironic laughter from how ridiculous he sounded, but one performance and character I just could not stand in the slightest was Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Seth Rogen is usually a pretty funny guy, and most of his roles are a good fit for him, even though he uses the same voice for everything. I don't know what it is about this one though, but I just couldn't stop thinking about Seth Rogen reading his lines whenever Donkey Kong spoke. This would have been fine if he was at least funny, but he's not given anything funny to say or anything that the story can benefit from. He's just a poor example of comic relief. They almost gave him a purpose, but they gloss over it because the movie is too afraid to have genuine emotion. Whenever it seems like it's having a deep moment, it doesn't hold much weight due to how quick the pacing is. Like, Mario and Luigi both have their own arc, like with Mario wanting to feel seen and Luigi wanting to be brave. These arcs aren't really fleshed out to really matter that much. I'm not saying a Mario movie should have these kinds of moments, though I certainly wouldn't mind if it did, but if they're gonna do it, they should go all the way instead of backing off. It's like it doesn't know what it wants its tone to be. As for the music, I thought the score was phenomenal. It fits the scenes very well and has some recognizable motifs that are cleverly placed. But that wasn't enough for Illumination apparently, since they also threw in licensed songs that really feel out of place. One scene features Mario trying to complete an obstacle course in a training montage, and what song do they play? It's probably the first one you can think of. That's right. Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler, one of the most overused songs in media. In this year alone, aside from Mario, it was also used in Shazam 2, Tetris, which I still haven't watched, and even in Family Guy. You're never gonna top Shrek 2, just give it up! What makes this even worse is that original compositions were actually written for these scenes. I listened to them, and they work so much better. Imagine spending days, maybe weeks, on composing a thematically fitting piece of music only for it to be replaced with Take On Me. Going back to the score, I also have a slight nitpick regarding that. They play the underground theme early on, which fits well since Mario and Luigi are underground, but then they play it again later on in a diegetic fashion with Bowser on a piano. That doesn't make any sense, even as a joke. I wish I had gotten more laughs from the humor in this film. Aside from some Bowser moments, I never really found it funny, but there wasn't any joke that I thought was outright terrible. But that doesn't take away from this movie's fun nature. That's pretty much what it is, a fun time that's meant to satisfy a lot of Mario fans, and the difference between what critics think and what audiences think show this. To be fair, sometimes audiences' reviews can be questionable, and sometimes both sides can be questionable. I'm not saying critics are entirely unjustified in their critiques. It does feel more like a compilation of Mario game elements than a well-structured story. The best way to sum it up is it's a great Mario movie, but not a great movie, and that's perfectly okay. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is an enjoyable watch if you're looking for some light-hearted fun. If you're looking for something with a stronger story, this is not really that. As it stands, it is Illumination's best movie and one of the better video game adaptations. There are also two post-credit scenes that are worth sticking around for. It may not be as super as the Mario Brothers, but it is still an okay ride down Rainbow Road, and I'm looking forward to reviewing another Chris Pratt movie next month, as well as that terrible-looking Little Mermaid movie, then Spider-Verse, really excited about that one, then maybe Elemental, and Indiana Jones 5, and I obviously have to review Barbie, Movie of the Year! Anyway, yeah, go see Mario if you love the game franchise. You'll for sure get enjoyment out of it.